I'm going to begin by lighting of our unity candle. So we light this candle each week, representing that light of spirit that's within each and every one of us, the flame of the divine. And we know that as we allow our consciousness to unite with the power in the universe greater than we are, whatever name we call that by, we allow that spiritual consciousness to come forth in our lives and to bless not only ourselves, but the world around us. Welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Rick McCollum, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. We have another special service planned for you, and I know that as we begin, we will be having a wonderful time, and Spirit will be blessed through each and every one of us. We are an inclusive center. We recognize that there are many ways to have a relationship with the God of your understanding. So know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here with us. And we're glad that you are here and that you're taking time out of your week to stop and consciously focus on Spirit and making that connection with the divine in your life. And now I would like to have our practitioner of the day, Vicki Jeter, do our opening prayer.
Thank you, Reverend Rick. It is my pleasure and my privilege to take up this word right from where Reverend Rick left off, recognizing the fullness of the presence of Spirit and reminding us that within our human selves, the process of tapping in to that universal is actually a point of stillness. All of creation has a point of stillness that is the roots and the portal, if you will, to the source from which it comes. Everything in creation breathes, and everything in creation has that point of stillness that is forever and always toggling between the universal and the relative. And so I just invite us to breathe, taking a nice deep breath in and releasing slowly and completely. And with each breath, at the top of the breath in, there's a stop and a pause. And as we release, once again, the stop and the pause. That pause, that stillness, is the gap of grace. Always and forever with us, always and forever, our literal source. And as I recognize it in this moment fully as omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, we consciously welcome this communion, this opportunity, this knowing that we have it within the one that we all are. And this time for Reverend Rick as a vessel of pure spirit, as the word of Spirit manifest in, as, and through him meets the ears of the in, as, and through of Spirit that is each person here present. And for this, I'm grateful for the giving and receiving. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. I release it and let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. And now we'll have our opening song by Denise Rosier. Spirit is in this place. And now, Vicki Jeter will offer our spiritual reading for today.
The inspiration for this reading comes from the recognition that we are culminating, visioning, that has been our theme for the month. And this reading is coming from two parts. The first is from the Science of Mind textbook, page 87. No limit can be placed upon the spirit of human beings. It merges with the universal spirit, for the two are really one. God is in us as we are in God, the same essence. The degree apparently different, but only apparently. The one infinite and the one finite and the other infinite. And since the infinite cannot come from the finite, it follows that the finite, the human, must come from the infinite. A little circle within the big circle. Metaphysically, we recognize the universal spirit as the source of all life and inspiration. an infinite self-knowingness which we grasp only in part, but which is ever available, since the infinite is omnipresent. The mind of the human being is an extension of the universal mind that we make use of through our individual brains and bodies. And his evolution, our evolution, is the unfolding of the everlasting mind of spirit through thought, everlasting and eternal. Thusly, Ernest more poetically said, taken from a biblical verse, whether I shall go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up to the heavens, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there also. If I take wing in the morning and dwell in the uppermost parts of the mountain, or dive to the depths of the seas, even there shall I find thy hand leads me, and thy hand holds me steady. This is what the mystics have experienced, and they have experienced it now, and not just now and then, but now and always. There is nowhere we can go that spirit is not already preceding us. Amen.
Thank you, Vicki. And now we'll have our special music for today. This is a song by Janice Stanfield, and it's called I'm Not Lost, I Am Exploring.
If I could look down on this path I walk from somewhere way up high, I could see the crooked road that I have come. I walked a mile with sorrow, I walked a mile with joy. Now I'm less afraid of either one. For every tear I've cried, there's a smile that I have earned. For every mile I walk, there's a lesson I learn. I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. Some people choose to live their lives on quiet avenues, while others find a place in the parade. Some like me are seekers, we take less traveled roads, believing we can find a better way. And though I get discouraged, I won't be turning back. I have joy as my compass and faith as my map. I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. All of us are headed for the same destination, so why not blaze a trail that's got imagination? I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I'm going, I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost. I am exploring. I am not lost. I am exploring.
Is your life an adventure worth exploring? Do you feel lost? Or are you going with the flow of spirit? And are you having fun with your life? Have you really caught Spirit's vision for your life? We're completing our series on visioning today, and the talk is titled, Commit to Transform. When we open ourselves to avenues of awareness and being receptive to the divine love and infinite wisdom that's within us, we can transform our lives. Visioning is about personal transformation. As we tap into the realm of possibilities, much greater than we can even imagine for ourselves, our lives expand and transform. When we keep Spirit's vision as our guide, our actions and activities change from how we were living our lives to something even greater. And that might make people look at us and think that we're lost. But no, we're not. We're just exploring life and exploring how we can live in, as, and through Spirit. Are you willing to commit to transform your life? Transformation is not always easy. Following that will of God, the divine in our life, might mean that we're moving to a road less traveled. Today is Palm Sunday, the day the Christian religion celebrates the arrival of Jesus into Jerusalem. I heard a Palm Sunday story. It's a bit of minister humor, so I want to share it with you today. A little boy was not feeling well and stayed home from church one Palm Sunday. When his family arrived home after the service, they had palm branches with them. The curious little boy asked what they were, and his father explained to him that when Jesus came into the city, the people laid the palm branches on the road to make the way softer, and that others waved the palm branches as he entered to honor him. The little boy thought about this for a moment and said, "Well, wouldn't you know it? The one Sunday I don't go, and Jesus shows up." On a more serious note, Jesus knew what the will of God was for his life. And he prayed, "Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Jesus had the vision of his purpose. He knew that he was going to be crucified. He knew the fulfillment of the law was through him. And it made him sad as a human. Yet he prayed for the Father's will to be done. He surrendered himself to the vision of the divine. So there's a message here for each one of us. Our first point today is the importance of aligning ourselves with the divine purpose in our life. That divine purpose for each one of us is love, and expressing love in our own unique way. We have asked the question, what is Spirit's highest vision expressing as my life? Some will say, what is mine to do? However you ask the question, be awake and alert to Spirit's vision as you, expressing love and using the gifts and talents that you have been given. Don't say you have no gifts or talents. I know that each and every one of us do. and they are all very unique and very different. Mother Teresa said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love." Are you showing the love of Spirit through your life? Are you willing to align your life and your actions with the divine purpose of expressing love as you, through you, in the ways that only you can? This brings us to our second point for today, which is acceptance. Are we willing to surrender, to accept the will of God for our life? The vision is already complete in the mind of God. Everything we need for the vision is provided for us, and our work is to become a more effective delivery system. This is where our personal transformation comes in. You may remember a couple weeks ago when I said that all spiritual growth is about letting go, releasing old ideas about ourselves and erroneous beliefs about life. In order for the vision to manifest, we must also embody it, become it, as Vicki spoke about last week. We know we can't experience anything unless we're willing to embrace it in our consciousness. And that's our mental work, is to see and allow that vision, to dream, to imagine. We're not lost, we're just exploring. We're finding new ways for Spirit to express through us. As we do our work of releasing and embracing, we are transformed by Spirit's vision. And we can live in the flow as we accept this vision for our life. The third point today is that we must be committed to transforming our lives. In order for Spirit's vision to unfold, we must be willing to transform our consciousness and be willing to have our life transform as well. What you think about, you bring about. Change your thinking, change your life. Those are all ways that we remind ourselves that as we transform our consciousness, then our life becomes different. When we commit to transformation, we are willing to do the work of releasing that which we have been guided by Spirit to release. And we do our work of embracing that which we've been guided by Spirit to embrace. We commit to our spiritual growth and transformation in order that the vision may unfold as us. Are you willing to let Spirit manifest that vision as your life? I'll tell you that these 3 steps are not easy for many people to follow. Step 1, aligning our consciousness with our divine purpose. Some people don't have a spiritual practice that guides them in being quiet enough to even hear Spirit's vision for their life. So doing our spiritual practices is so important to having us open to alignment with Spirit's purpose. Step 2, accepting the vision. It takes work to actually release what we have known, what's familiar with us in our life. And I will admit that it can be scary to embody a new way of living, new things to do. Step 3, committing to transforming our life. Well, our friends and our family may not understand this change in us. And so it moves them into a way of relating to us that's unfamiliar because we're not behaving as we had in the past. So committing to transforming our life means that we'll have different relationships with those in our support system. And I will share that I bet your ego might have a thing or two to say about these changes as well. I want to share some examples from my own journey so that you know how it really can be difficult, but it is something we can accomplish. Some of you know that I didn't really intend to become a practitioner. I had a great career as a nurse, and in my work, Reverend Carolyn and Vicki Jeter both told me about a practitioner class that they were going to be teaching. They thought that I should take this class, that it would give me more insights into myself. And I agreed that, well, I could use more insights into myself, but I really didn't want to be a practitioner. When they were going to do the second year of practitioner studies, they told me that this was the year I would learn how to talk to others about spirit and how to pray for and with others. Well, I thought it was enough to learn about myself. I didn't really think I needed to go any further. But once again, they convinced me that this would be good training, a good thing for me. I took the class saying that, well, I'm not going to sit for the licensure test at the end. But you see, my ego was telling me an old story, that I wasn't a good student, that I wouldn't be successful in passing this exam, so don't even try. Of course, when I got done, Reverend Carolyn said, well, you've done all this work for 2 years. Why wouldn't you take the exam and complete this? Vicki convinced me that I knew the philosophy and that I would do just fine on the exam. So I did take the practitioner licensing exam, and of course I passed it. Immediately, Spirit started talking to me, telling me that I was going to ministerial school. By now, I was beginning to learn to surrender, to accept what Spirit was telling me and not fight it any longer. You see, sometimes we try to fight the vision of Spirit and not accept it, not align ourselves with it. I had received the message when I was about 20 that I was to be a minister, and I pushed that vision aside. I didn't want to do that. I continued on my known path to being a nurse. And I was a nurse for 40 years. During the end of my nursing career, I graduated from ministerial school, and I planned to be a minister at a center in Tampa, Florida. I applied to that center, but I didn't hear anything. 3 months went by. I was busy with my nursing career, and I told myself I was being patient, but actually Spirit was working out a plan. When I contacted that center after waiting 3 months, I told them that they told me that they weren't going to hire anyone right now. They said, go out and get some experience and come back to us later. Well, I can tell you that was a real blow to my ego. Shortly after that experience, I was at a national practitioner meeting in Colorado. I had 3 different spiritual communities approach me saying, we heard you're a new minister, and we're interested to see if you would come and be our senior minister. Well, 2 of the communities, as I talked with them, I could tell would not be a good fit. And so I pushed them away, declining their offer. But the 3rd community kept talking to me. I tried to push them away as well. But they continued. They were persistent. I told them, now you're in Colorado. It snows there. I live in Florida. There's no snow. Why would I move into the snow and the cold? But at the time, Spirit was whispering to me, Parker, Colorado, this is your ministry. I decided to check out their center on the Sunday before I left Colorado from that trip. Now, I had been visioning my ministry for the 4 years that I was in ministerial school. I knew what my ministry was looking like in my vision. When I walked into the chapel in downtown Parker where they met, I couldn't believe it. This place was exactly as I had seen it in my vision. it caused me to sit down and start crying. I went home and immediately sent in my application. After 6 weeks, or within 6 weeks, I had been hired by them as their senior minister. I had resigned from my nursing job. We'd put our condo on the market and had an offer. And I was on a plane flying to Colorado to be a senior minister. If I had not been aligned with Spirit's vision for my life, I would not have left my nursing job. It was a great job and I was comfortable in it. If I was not in acceptance of Spirit's vision, even though it was not where I had planned for it to be, I wouldn't have been open to moving. If I did not commit to transform my life, going from being secure as a nurse in a great job to an unknown community in a different state on the other side of the country, that wouldn't even have been an option for me to consider. But I did align myself with Spirit's vision. I did accept this vision for my life, even though it was scary. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was exploring with Spirit. And I did commit to transform my life as Spirit's vision. Michael Beckwith says, the purpose of visioning is not simply about the narrow confines of personal fulfillment. It is an expansion of consciousness into the realization of your true self. This is who Spirit had been calling me to be since in my 20s. And I was finally aligning with this call, answering the call and being open to it. Are you willing to commit to transforming your life? Now, I'll share with you that it's not a one-time decision. You see, I made that decision to leave my nursing job and move into my ministry. But I loved my job at CSL Parker. And then Spirit got my attention with health issues. And while I thought I was set and comfortable in this ministry, I got the vision, a new vision, that it was time for me to move on. So as much as I wasn't looking forward to something new, I did resign from my position and move. You see, I'm learning not to ignore the voice of the divine when it's speaking to me. We moved from Colorado back to Florida, and I was able to rest. Being at sea level allowed my health to greatly improve. And after about 3 months, I was beginning to wonder what I needed to do next. What was Spirit's vision for me now? I really wanted to work with a local center where I was living, but they didn't seem open to having me serve there. The door was closed. And then Vicki called me and asked if I would be willing to listen to an opportunity she wanted me to talk to me about with LCSL. Now, you heard me say earlier that Reverend Carolyn and Vicki talked me into practitioner training. Well, really, it was the voice of Spirit speaking to me. But since I'm human, I want to blame it on Reverend Carolyn and Vicki. If I had not been open to changing as the vision of Spirit changed, I wouldn't be here to share with you today. So it's important for each one of us who's on a spiritual journey to accept that things may not look like what we have planned. That Spirit's vision can take us down a crooked road, a winding road that is not where we think we're going. Spirit has everything for the vision to be fulfilled laid out for us. We just need to be open and surrender to the vision of Spirit, that vision that God has for our life. What is Spirit asking you to do today? What must you release? What must you embrace? Are you willing to commit to transform your life by following divine guidance? This is your assignment for this week. to contemplate what Spirit is asking you to do today. Ask that question. Spirit, what do I need to do today? What must I release in order to accomplish your vision? What must I embrace for the vision to come forth in my life? And ask yourself, am I willing to commit to transform my life by following this divine guidance? It's great spiritual work for each of us to do. And the answer is not always the same. It will change as we move through our lives. I want to remind you that the fullness of Spirit is ready and willing to flow through your life. And your spiritual work is to be that open channel. Here's an analogy that I want to leave you with for today. Imagine a garden hose. That garden hose is attached to a water spigot. The spigot is source. The water is turned on and is flowing. But how much of the water comes out the other end of the garden hose depends on whether or not the hose is obstructed. The water is flowing fully, and yet at the other end of the hose, water may just be dribbling out. Our spiritual work is to remove the obstruction in the garden hose, to allow the full flow of water. I'll explain that God is the water flowing. And God is flowing that water, that source of life, and all we need for our vision to be accomplished. It flows it freely. The degree to which we experience that flow in our lives is the degree to which we are open channels for that water to flow through, for the divine to flow through. Our work is unkinking the hose so that Spirit can flow through fully. We don't need to do anything about the flow of the water. We don't have to touch the spigot, for it is already on and flowing, giving all that it can infinitely to us. The opportunity is to make our lives, you might say the hose, a more able instrument, and to allow that water to flow through. Are you willing to unkink the hose of your life and allow God to move through? Allow the vision of Spirit to come through fully, as you, in you, and through you. Let us pray. We take a deep breath. Oh, and we say thank you, Spirit, for this message, for the assurance that you are always providing infinite source and possibility for us. Thank you, Spirit, that you have the vision and it is already accomplished in your mind for each and every one of us. Give us the strength and the clarity to open our hearts and open our minds, that we can accept that vision, that we can align ourselves with the vision of the divine, that we open ourselves to transforming by following that divine guidance, that inner voice. Help us, O God, to be still enough in our spiritual practice to hear the voice, to hear the intuition that is always willing to come forth, that constantly provides guidance to us. Help us to be calm enough to hear that voice and bold enough to live through the direction of our source, to step into new ways of living, to step out of the familiar and into the love of the divine, so that each and every day we are sharing love with ourselves and with the world around us. I bless each one of us as we consider our spiritual work this week, knowing that as we do our work, Spirit continues to provide the way, to show the light, and to be the flow through our lives. I release my word, knowing that it is accomplished and it is good and very good. And so it is.
And so it is.
Namaste.
Namaste. Oh, lots of clapping. Thank you, Reverend Rick. This brings us into our time of prosperity. What a space to celebrate from. And I do believe Miss Pat will be holding our, yes, she is indeed, holding our prosperity basket. And our prosperity affirmation is in the chat. But before we go there, we just want to take the time to sincerely honor each and every one of you for your time, talents, and treasures in tithe and in heart and in mind that make up Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. Every single person that's here, every single person whose lives that we touch is a part of this process. And we know that in every step that we take within Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being who you are in this process. And the prosperity affirmation in the chat, I will say it once, and then if you will say it with me. When I trust the universe, I am happy, prosperous, and well. Once again, together. When I trust the universe, I am happy, prosperous, and well. So I'm just going to take just a moment to let that settle, and y'all do what you need to do with that, and then we shall shift into announcements in just a moment. Just practicing taking that pausing breath. And also, of course, giving our tech people enough time to shift. Marvelous. So our first announcement is we do want everyone to know that sharing time is still an integral part of our service and happens after the closing song and the closing prayer. We would love to have you stay this afternoon if you'd like to share thoughts and reflections on the message today. Also, this is your opportunity to engage your practitioners. Officially speaking, I'm the practitioner of the day, and as Tammy so often reminds you, when your practitioner of the day is here with you, and what we want you to know is that we take your presence with us throughout the week in prayer, even if there hasn't been a specific prayer request given. And certainly now our intention is that you know that all you have to do is raise your hand and say, I'd like time, and either in small group or individually, a practitioner will be more than happy to meet with you. And now the next thing, this coming Thursday is men's group. The first Thursday of every month is our men's group, and that happens on this link at 6:30 on April the 1st, and it's a wonderful thing. And then the next is also for the first week of the month is LCSL's opportunity to practice ongoing visioning, and that happens on Saturday, April the 3rd at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and it's a separate Telebridge number. That's the number there. Hopefully you have time to take it in. And anytime, if you're interested in connecting to that opportunity, just reach out to me if you don't happen to have the number. It does appear in the weekly update and, of course, right there. And I'd be happy to help you get familiar with what that experience is like. And let's see. Our annual meeting is coming up. We are very excited about this because this is a cornerstone of the health of the center structurally. And this is the first time we've been able to do this in about 3 years. And so we're going to have an abbreviated service that day, which means there will be a message. Absolutely. We'll be here just like this, starting at 10:30. Within that service, we will begin giving you the context of the content for the annual meeting. And then to whatever extent there might be questions and different things after that, we'll extend into sharing time as well. So we are really hoping that anyone and everyone invested in LCSL overall, tap into that if you are able, because we have some wonderful information that we would like to share with you. And that, I do believe, is the end of announcements. So I hand it back to Reverend Rick for our benediction.
Thank you, Vicki. All right, I invite you to relax and breathe into all those announcements, recognizing the message that Spirit has for you today. And so I bless each one of us as we go into the marketplace this week, that we go forth as the love of Spirit, that we fill ourselves up through our own individual spiritual practice, our own connection with Spirit, that we are filled with love, that we are filled with peace, that we are filled with joy and wisdom. And then we move out into our world and we share what we have been given. We allow that flow of Spirit to flow freely through that garden hose of our life out into the world, to be love, to be peace, to be calmness, to be wisdom and compassion for the world that needs that touch. So I bless each one of you as you move into this week, knowing that you are guided, guarded, and protected by the love and the arms of Spirit. Go in peace, go in love, go in joy, and explore your life. It is an adventure. And so it is. Namaste. And now our closing song, I Am Peace.
I am peace, I am joy, I am love. I am peace, I am joy, I am love. I am in harmony with everything, it's a part of me. I am peace, I am joy, I am love. You are peace, you are joy, you are love. You are peace, you are joy, you are love. You are in harmony with everything. God is all you see. You are peace, you are joy, you are love. We are peace, we are joy, we are love.